Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. Again, I use that hashtag because this channel is all about how I got full custody without an attorney and how I've won over and over in court without an attorney and how I've worked with thousands of other people who've done it. So I had somebody the other day who said, how did you learn all this stuff? And a lot of people have that kind of reaction, like, how do you know all this stuff? How do you learn all this stuff? Or you know way more than me. This is impossible. Because the court system is intimidating. They have their own language. They have a legal language, legal mumbo jumbo. But, and then, there's just these hotshot attorneys that talk all this smack, and there's cops involved sometimes and all this other stuff. So, people are intimidated by the whole process. But it's just that my answer is it's just like anything else in life. You learn by actually doing something and actually reading up on stuff and studying stuff. So when I first started out, I didn't know anything about the legal system. I didn't know how, just like most of you guys, I didn't know how family court was. I didn't know that it was corrupt as it was, and, common sense thoughts about how the justice system should work. I didn't know about that stuff. So I was starting from scratch like anybody else. But as soon as somebody pointed out stuff to me, like the law, the court rules, how I could look them up, how to look up case law, I jumped into it and dove into it. And you don't have to be a legal scholar to do that. If you guys go to my Flow page and you click on the link that says must see information, the links that I have to the science about two-parent involvement, the link that I have to Troxel versus Granville, the link that I have to Daniel Amnius's 400-page online book about the case for the case for custody for dad. I think that's what it's called. But the guy has, he goes back to, feminism and, original quotes from feminists who are trying to destroy the father-child relationship back in the day, 100 years ago. All that stuff. I know that because I've dived into it. And maybe sometimes I could read something and remember it later better than somebody else can. But the best way, I took a study methods class in high school, and a lot of that stuff stuck to me. When you read something, or if you're reading a book, in the margins, if you write like a note or a summary about it, that little note, or if you write, like, if you have a book and there's a column here and a column here on one page, and the next page, a column here, a column there, and you write a one sentence or one keyword summary, that the biggest thing you learned out of that, when you're reading something like that, if you make a note in the margin and stuff, when you go back and you just look at your notes, that triggers your memory to remember stuff even better. But the biggest thing is to picture yourself in there. When you go and read Troxel versus Granville, that's a United States Supreme Court case about your parental rights. The most important thing in there is it says parents have the right to autonomy with their kids without government interference. And then we assume that a fit parent acts in the best interest of a child. That's plain English. There's nothing deep about that. There's the word autonomy in there, which basically means you have the right to be left alone. So sometimes, you got to go read a dictionary to get the definition of a word that you read about. But that's just not being lazy. That's actually caring about your case. That's actually wanting to absorb this stuff that you will use, or that you make sure that your attorney engages in or fights for you on. That's you learning your own rights. Like, you shouldn't learn. Think about this example of learning stuff that has to do with your kids beyond what a professional does. When you go see a doctor and your child has special needs, or they have a rare disease, there's all kinds of parents out there who know as much about that disease as the doctor does because they care so much about their kids. They will study that disease and study different things that triggers it, or if they have a learning disability, how you need to cater to that or work with that, or, work with your child to be able to do good in school or accommodate your child's special needs in school or whatever. You don't have to have a PhD in, special ed, or you don't have to have a degree in medicine to be able to go and learn the stuff that you can learn. And the more you learn, the more you can work with the doctor, and the more advantageous the doctor is to you, the more that you're in the know, and you can make an informed decision or tell the doctor, like, I don't want to do this or that, or I don't want, there's these two different procedures that you could do for a certain surgery. I want to do the former and not the other one because there's more risk with the other one. If you become more informed, you can make a more informed decision with your doctors. If you become more informed about your rights and the law, you could talk to your lawyer even better. But actually, when you start learning this stuff, you could do it on your own. And as most of you know, your attorneys get caught with their pants down in court. They're juggling 20 other cases. They don't have time for you like you do. I have a video on YouTube. I think it's 6 reasons, or the top 4 or 5 or 6 reasons why I represent myself and would never use an attorney. So we do it in other areas of life. We learn our child's medical needs and the special disease or the special learning disability or special needs or problem that they have, so we can work with them. I know somebody who lost his daughter to DIPG, which is a special, unique type of brain cancer where stuff develops behind the eye. And now he's a big campaigner for donation and research in that area of cancer. That guy was a football guy. He deals with scouting and football. And now he's one of the, more famous people, advocating for research and help with that. That's an area of cancer and science that people need to have a degree in medicine or chemistry to learn. But that guy cared enough about his kid, he was proactive in learning everything that he could. You should care enough about your rights to your kid to want to delve into this stuff. The problem is, the average person doesn't give a shit. You want to give a shit, and you want your kids, and you want your rights to your kids, and you should have a right to your kids, but that's all you ever stand on. You don't get to go to court and say, this doesn't feel right, or I don't like how this feels, or this isn't right. I was talking to somebody today, and I was trying to get her to look at all the obligations, ethical obligations of an attorney. Civil Rule 11, the RPCs, the oath of an attorney, and the rules of evidence that block this attorney from coming to court and bashing her over and over. And she's like, yeah, that's defamation. No, it's not. There's no defamation done within family court. Defamation is stuff that's done outside. A lot of people want to interject their own feelings or what they heard before, what their limited knowledge of the law into the law. You have to go in and get a specific legal authority when you're going in there. Just like if you have a kid who's getting cancer treatment, you don't go in there and look at, I don't know, how to deal with a broken leg and you use that protocol in cancer. You need to specifically deal with, what are we going to do with this cancer and this specific type of cancer? I don't get to just do my layman's knowledge of medicine and apply that. I need to find out what's particularly that needs to be dealt with this type of situation. So when you go to court, you have to go to court and follow the court rules or the court law, not what you feel like, not, or whatever that you make up in your head. And in order to be able to do that the best way possible, you got to absorb these laws and study the rules of evidence and study all the rules that come with this stuff. And it's a whole lot easier if you get an appointment with me so I can point out the shortcuts to you one-on-one, just like with a tutor. If you just go to class and listen to the boring professor and they put you to sleep, and that's all you go off of, instead of working with a tutor who can break stuff down. I'm actually tutoring somebody who's taking paralegal classes right now. He has an English barrier also, so he's getting my insight in my layman's language as to how to apply some of the complex stuff he's dealing with. But it comes down to, if you actually care about your kid, you go in there and you look at the law, or you look at Troxel versus Granville, or you're reading something that seems complicated. Picture yourself in there. Oh, wait, I'm the one performing parenting functions. That's the person, the one with the mental health issues. I can pin that on her. You can memorize this stuff better when you put yourself in there and picture yourself and how everything applies to you. So study this stuff on your own, and you